As promised, 2 Chardonnays. Problem is I already ate my dinner and I had a little bit of both Chardonnays, so it won't be just surprise on camera, but I've already had both now and I have my impressions of both. So, I'm going to start with the one that I have a little familiarity with. So, Au Bon Clement, and this is Santa Barbara County Chardonnay. So, Jim Clendenin is the producer or who owns Au Bon Clement, and I've had a number of his Chardonnays, and they vary, really vary in style with amount of oak treatment and everything else. But he is most definitely, God, what do they call him? Like Wild Jim or something? And I could be dead wrong about that. But something about him, he's sort of off the beaten trail type of winemaker. But for sure, not trying to make things the quote-unquote normal way, but less oak treatment, do things the right way, let the grapes and the vineyard speak for themselves. Now, this is just sort of an entry level. Oh, it even says here, produced and bottled by Jim Clendenin, mind behind, whatever. But this definitely has more of an elegance to it than the other Chardonnay I'm going to talk about. Both right off the nose smell like Chardonnay. I know that sounds silly, but they just sort of do. So Chardonnay can sort of be a blank canvas for the winemaker, the artist, of what to do. The oak treatment, malolactic versus non-malolactic, you know, turning the malic acid into lactic acid and make it creamier. How buttery this may end up being because of that. So there's a number of things you can do with Chardonnay. It's definitely barrel fermented. You definitely smell some barrel influence, but it's a good thing. I have no problem with barrel influence on Chardonnays. I don't, not that I dislike stainless steel fermented or no oak treatment Chardonnays. They have a fresher, more pineapple-y, maybe ripe peach thing going. But I do like some depth, I like some layers, I like some oak, I like some toastiness. I mean, it's kind of what I expect from a Chardonnay. I just don't want it to be like biting into a 2x4. So this is most definitely not like that. This is definitely more of the elegant style. I don't know if he's going Burgundian here or not. Maybe that's his style of this Santa Barbara one, maybe not. It's warmed up a little bit too. Great finish. I mean, it has a nice long finish. It's a great wine. I don't know what I paid. It's got to be in the 20s. This is a 20-something dollar wine. And I trust the producer. I trust Jim Clendenin to make good wine. I trust that he's not going to try to make some garbage and recipe winemaking or fabricate or make something crappy. And this is great. For the price, this is absolutely great. So, you ever see it? You're a Chardonnay fan. I know Chardonnay sort of fell out of favor. You know, ABC, anything but Chardonnay, which is nonsensical. I love Chardonnay. I'd say some other white grapes are really not my favorite, like the Pinot Grigios that became so insanely popular, although there's areas that make good Pinot Grigio, or Pinot Gris, which is the actual grape. Pinot Grigio they call it in Italy, but Pinot Gris in Alsace, France are awesome, like really great, totally different. I've had a Pinot Grigio from a New Jersey winery that's actually really good, and tropical-ish. You wouldn't even know. It's not this neutral style that got popular with that Santa Margarita. Just like that's like a neutral white wine. There's not a lot going on. That $8 to $12 range. I know Santa Margarita went up in price for popularity, but there's just so many others. Now there's the Collio and Collio Orientale. It's one of those regions in northern Italy that make better Pinot Grigio, but I still prefer, if I had to pick a place for Pinot Grigio, Pinot Gris, I go Alsace, France. I think the ones out of there are the best. To me, they have the most character. So, but nothing wrong with Chardonnay. Some of the most expensive white wines in the world are Chardonnay out of Burgundy. So, Montrachet specifically. So, I bought this today, and I like Beaulieu Vineyard, and I think Georges de Latour, there's a red wine called Georges de Latour Beaulieu Vineyard that I really dig. It's a Cabernet. It's about $100, but I really like it. Well, it's a $100 cab out of Napa. Hopefully it would be damn good, but it is good. So this is a Beaulieu Vineyard, and this is one of those sort of legendary or from the 70s or even earlier maybe in Napa vineyards that just gone through Renaissance renovation. People buy them and sell them, but saw it. It's from Carneros, a little further south in Cali. Both of them are 2018. So this one for sure has oak treatment. This smells toastier, tastes toastier, tastes oakier, but it's not over the top. There's a smoky component, there's an oaky component, there's a buttery component, but it still has fruit. Still has fruit. And it's overripe fruit, but still fruit nonetheless. And drinking this wasn't like biting into a 2x4. Even the colors sort of indicate that there's just something bigger and broader. I don't know if it'll be obvious through the camera, but this one's lighter for sure. This one's darker. So, depending on your style. Again, canvas. Blank canvas is Chardonnay. You can do so much with it. Between the fermentations and the oaking, the aging, and what you do, and how, when you pick the grapes, the level of the sugar in the grapes when you pick them, the ripeness, I mean, all those things, that'll add body and texture, and there's just so many factors. How long you age them, new oak, old oak, different types of oak, French, American, Hungarian, whatever it may be, big giant oak barrels, small ones, all of it has an impact. Stainless steel fermentation, barrel fermentation. Toasty and oaky, but not overly toasty and not overly oaky. Maybe on the cusp of that, but well balanced, really enjoyable, went great with my crab. They actually both went great with my crab. So, really enjoying both. I would definitely buy both. I think these are a great contrast between two Chardonnays out of California, two totally different producers, two totally different styles, but both fundamentally still just Chardonnay. And right off the aroma, they both had this aroma like, oh yeah, Chardonnay, oh yeah, Chardonnay. They've changed a little bit now that they've gotten a little warmer, but nonetheless, both great, both good, both affordable. I forgot what I paid for. I think 20. Bought two wines. A rosé from Bandol, I bought that. Price was 45. So in the 20s. 25, let's say. And this one's, let's say they're both 25. I'd say they're both equal. Both equal. Do I have a favorite? Depends. Depends on what I'm eating. This could overpower some foods, but probably not, because it's not overly toasty. So it worked. The buttery element actually really worked and counteracted with the crab, the king crab that I had today. And this would absolutely worked well with it too. Just letting the crab sing a little bit. This is like adding butter to the crab. This is letting the crab sing a little bit. It's whatever we choose it to be. But both really enjoyable. I will cork these up and try them again tomorrow. They'll probably be really cold again, but I'm going to have a little bit of cheese. I might have a little bit of my Mourvedre that I talked about earlier. And with that, have a good night.